Bringing Up Baby is the first of three Cary Grant, Katherine Hepburn collaborations directed by Howard Hawks. It came out in 1938. We're going to get into this screwball comedy classic this week on the Golden Hour Film Podcast. Hello everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Golden Hour Film Podcast. I am here with my co-host, not guest host, Harry Bailey. How are you, Harry?
Very good. This is episode 99 of the Golden Hour Film Podcast. Next week is our centenary event, our centurion event, or whatever you want to say. That being said, we are still covering an absolutely class film this week that we've both seen before. Besides that, I'm pretty good. A little bit under the weather. It's Ireland. We're all under the weather around this time of year. We all could do with a bit of vitamin D. But besides that, all good. All good. Looking forward to number 99 and then number 100. What about you?
Yeah, same. This is a classic movie as well. Right in the middle, obviously, of Screwball Comedy Month. We kicked the month off last week with, remind me.
It Happened One Night.
Correct, yeah. For some reason, I was thinking Arsenic and All Lace, and I knew that was not the movie because, that's from like a whole decade later, and none of the actors are the same. So, yeah, my mind went blank for a second. But yeah, this is obviously
Same
as I
director,
mentioned, it is. This is starring Cary Grant and Katherine Hepburn. It's the first of three kind of major collaborations between the two of them. Obviously, it's Holiday, and it's the movie we're going to be covering next week. This came out the same year as Holiday, but it did come out before Holiday. It came out a few months before Holiday. And yeah, I think it's kind of the start of one of kind of classic cinema's great duos. Just they work so well together. They obviously have this great friendship off screen in real life as well. And yeah, you can just tell that they enjoyed each other's company, I think, throughout this movie. They just bounce off each other so effectively. And yeah, Cary Grant and Katherine Hepburn, obviously two of Golden Age Hollywood's finest actors. I'm going to say something here, actually. Cary Grant, probably my favourite ever actor. Certainly my favourite actor of this era. I just think he was like your kind of quintessential movie star. Like, I just think he was kind of everything that you kind of think of when you think of movie stars, like someone who was literally a draw just to see this person's movie in and of themselves. He can do screwball comedies, as this film proves. He can do action, he can do drama, he can do thrillers. He's just kind of an all-round amazing actor. And obviously Katherine Hepburn, we've obviously covered her last month, I should say, sorry, on the podcast with Little Women. And so yeah, it's a much deserved and much lauded kind of return for her. So yeah, you mentioned obviously, Harry, that we've both seen this before. What are your spoiler-free views and obviously reviews of this movie on your second watch?
Yeah, so second time around, and I still loved it. I loved it the first time I saw it as well. My only gripe, which isn't even really a gripe, is it does feel a little bit drawn out at points. It's maybe a little bit longer than it needs to be. But like that is not the worst issue in the world in this case, because like I'm talking by margins here. It's a really fun time. Grant and Hepburn have so much chemistry. It's a really witty movie. Next week we're doing His Girl Friday, and it's probably more so in that film with Rosalind Russell and Cary Grant. But I feel like a lot of the humor and a lot of the jokes are like shot at you like a machine gun. Like it's like just rapid fire quips and then rapid fire responses. This is also apparently Katherine Hepburn's first ever comedic role. That is some achievement. She is unbelievable in this film. She is incredible. And as well, Cary Grant's character in this film is who Christopher Reeve based his Clark Kent character on. Like tried to copy his mannerisms. He's a mild-mannered archaeologist. Is he an archaeologist or a paleontologist, actually? Paleontologist, I
believe, yeah. The Ross Geller.
Yeah.
The Ross Geller one.
yeah. He's a paleontologist. And he's a fantastic character as well. Obviously, the titular baby as well. Again, they don't make them like they used to. This film just has like a whole ass leopard in it, like just a full blown leopard,
An actual leopard, yeah.
and yeah, like an actual real life leopard throughout the film. Katherine Hepburn apparently was really fond of the leopard, and Cary Grant was apparently petrified of it and refused to do any of the scenes where he had to physically touch it. So he had a body double for those scenes because he was like petrified. Which again, one of my favorite things, and I think it's like most people's favorite thing about this movie. I don't remember where the line came from, but someone said that the studio were raging because there was so many cuts during takes because Hepburn and Grant couldn't stop laughing. Which is just so amazing, and you can feel that, like you can feel that they really got on. But I find it really funny, a prank that Hepburn allegedly played on Grant was she like got a life-size stuffed leopard and put it in his trailer, and when he went in, apparently he literally just yelped and ran back out of the trailer, didn't even look to see if it was real or not, just ran. But yeah, they obviously got on very well. You can tell their chemistry is incredible. Directed by Howard Hawks as well, should mention. We've covered him a lot on the podcast. We are covering him again this month, obviously, which I think takes him second all time on the podcast for director appearances. Fun fact. He's tied with Billy Wilder when he does that. But yeah, Howard Hawks directs this brilliantly, but I can't recommend it enough. It's just a real good time at the movies. It's a real good time in like old Hollywood. You feel like you're getting like a slice of some of the best comedy that old Hollywood had, and it is just it's just a joy to watch. It's really enjoyable. I really would recommend Bringing Up Baby to anyone, absolutely anyone. What about you, Shane?
Yeah, pretty much co-sign everything you said. I do think it gets slightly baggy in the middle. If you could probably trim a tiny little bit of fat in
Yeah,
there, but other than that, like it's such a fun time. They have such great chemistry and comedic chemistry. Like their timing of when to kind of play off each other, and like especially Cary Grant as kind of the much put upon kind of a second part of their kind of double act. Like he's the one that's like
yeah.
very much kind of responding to her all the
He's
time.
the straight guy.
He's the straight guy, even though he's still very funny. He's very much a straight guy, and like
Yeah,
he's just constantly put upon by this woman Susan Vance. Yeah, great chemistry between them. Obviously, I should say, obviously, I said next week. It's actually 2 weeks time. The Philadelphia
yeah,
Story
yeah,
obviously
yeah.
covering. We're recording next week. That was the mix up there. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, after this, in a couple of weeks' time, we're obviously going to get another really great movie. Plus, with an added dose of Jimmy Stewart,
Yes.
who doesn't love a return to the podcast for Jimmy Stewart?
This is his year. This
Yeah.
is his year. God damn it! He is the bridesmaid of all bridesmaids at our podcast awards. This has to be the year Jimmy Stewart takes home an award.
Very much so, yeah. But for now, we're on Bringing Up Baby, and on that point, Bringing Up Baby, Harry, what's it all about?
Yeah, so we have Cary Grant, who plays Dr. Huxley, great name, who is a paleontologist who is waiting on an intercostal clavicle, which is a bone, which is part of this giant. It's not a stegosaurus. What is it? What dinosaur is it that he has in there? Is it a stegosaurus?
Yeah, that rings a bell. I think it could be a Stegosaurus, yeah.
Regardless,
It's a
he needs
dinosaur.
one more bone to complete his dinosaur skeleton, his gigantic dinosaur skeleton in this museum. And the museum is also looking for funding. He needs a couple £1,000,000 for funding. And he's also due to get married tomorrow. And it is so exciting for him tomorrow because, of course, it's the biggest day of his life. The day that the intercostal clavicle arrives. Also, he's getting married. On the other side of things, we also have Susan Vance, played by Katherine Hepburn, who is a bit of an enigma. She keeps bumping into, and we'll get into this, obviously this is the spoilery territory of the podcast. She keeps bumping into Huxley until she realizes that she loves being with him. They are total strangers to each other. So she basically devises this crazy odyssey that they then end up going on, where they are bringing Baby, a actual leopard, down to her auntie's house. That is the most succinct way I can describe bringing up Baby, because it goes everywhere. This one goes absolutely everywhere, which is like the word odyssey is a bit of a cheat code there, but basically Huxley and Vance have a bunch of hilarious interactions, some of them based on real life interactions that Cary Grant had with women, which is hilarious. And then they go on this mad adventure until eventually Baby the leopard ends up at her auntie's house and then gets loose. Full blown leopard. And again, I know I'm going way ahead, but just if you're thinking like that's a bit of a far fetched premise, but you know, I'll bear with you. At one point, one of the twists is that there's a second leopard, and it's an evil leopard. Like that's
It's so good.
it's so good. It's really fun. It's proper screwball comedy. It's a real leap from last week. Like, we're obviously leaping 4 years, but it's also a real leap as to like how extreme the screwball comedy genre has gone in those 4 years. From It Happened One Night, which it's like, oh, there's a hitchhiking scene, which is, by the way, I love It Happened One Night. It's like maybe my favorite screwball comedy ever, but it's definitely a bit more toned down. This is like, we are gonna throw every idea we have on our heads at the wall and just see what sticks. And Howard Hawks, fair play to him, was a bit of a nightmare for the studio, because he just wouldn't listen to them. They were like, no, can you just try and make this a romance movie? And he was like, no, nah, lads, we're getting a second leopard. Like, it's so fair play to you, Howard Hawks, because what you gave us is one of the most insane screwball comedies, one of the screwiest screwball comedies of all time. But I absolutely love it. And again, we're going to try our best not to go into autopilot and just go from the start of the film to the end of the film. But we will try and also cover kind of all the main scenes and sequences and interactions and jokes. Although when it comes to comedy on this podcast, especially with Billy Wilder, but like in general, when it comes to comedy on this podcast, we are going to not be able to reference your favorite joke. This film is packed with jokes. Yeah. So if we don't mention your favorite joke, let us know what it is in the comments on YouTube or in the comments on Spotify, which apparently exists, but I have no idea how to check.
Very much so. And obviously Howard Hawks, kind of the master of the hangout genre. So like, this movie is basically just a giant hangout. So it obviously starts off with David and Susan, and then just a cadre of characters come in. One actor played by where is he gone? Barry Fitzgerald, who obviously plays the character Aloysius Gogarty, the Irish, like kind of, what would you say? He's like a
drunk.
Yeah, basically drunk. I was gonna say like he works for Susan Vance, but he's basically just your stereotypical Irish drunk who lets the leopard out. So yeah, an Irishman, a drunk Irishman, is responsible for letting the leopard out. So that's good. But some of my favorite jokes in this, but like you say, we're not gonna kind of go into the blow by blow account of the movie, but some of my favorite ones is the very start of the movie, that just repeated hijink.
I'll be with you in a minute, Mr. Peabody.
That's one great one. The bit where she's in his car, she doesn't realise it's his car, or maybe she does. But also,
yes.
And she does constantly. He's trying to tell her, no, that's my car. That's not your car. That's my car. And she crashes it about 10 times in the space of about 60 seconds. It's so funny. Another one where as they're on the road to Connecticut, they crash into the back of a chicken, a van carrying a lot of chickens, and then David just has a bunch of feathers all over him.
Yeah.
Another one then, George the dog. What a good dog George is.
Oh, so good. So good. And there's like scenes where George the dog is playing with Baby the leopard.
Yeah.
I would say whoever was like animal control on that set, or whoever just owned George the dog, was bricking it the entire time, because like, they play.
They really get into
it. It is. Like, there's an actual leopard, like an actual full blown leopard.
That's so funny.
It's insane, crazy. But yeah, another great one at the start as well, because it's based on something that happened to Cary Grant at like a big society thing. Which again, he is 34 when they made this and was concerned he'd never be a movie star because he hadn't had any, like, in his opinion, massive breaks yet. Wow, would he go on to prove himself wrong, I guess, because he was definitely having self-doubts during the making of this. Not about the film itself, but about his own career. But yeah, based on a story he told Howard Hawks once, allegedly, where a woman's dress got caught in the zipper of his trousers, so he had to just keep following her around the party until he could get her attention. They do that in this film, basically, where he accidentally stands on the back of her dress at a society thing, and the back of the dress just rips off. So good. But so much better that we know that it's actually based on a Cary Grant-ism. They basically just keep bumping into each other until she realizes, first she realizes she just loves being around with him, so she kind of like cons him into coming to her apartment, pretending that she's being mauled by Baby.
It's so good. Katherine Hepburn in that scene is so funny. Oh, she's hilarious.
But yeah, because he's a zoologist, duh.
Yeah.
Because that's how she cons him into it. Is she's like, you're the only zoologist I know, and I have to transport this leopard, so I need you to come with me in case anything goes south. And she basically blackmails him into doing this the day before his wedding. But the day before he gets the intercostal clavicle, goddammit. But he does get the intercostal clavicle the morning of this odyssey, so he has it with him. And they, as you said, they go on that mad adventure where they plow into the back of a chicken truck, which, again, hilariously morbid joke that, like, Baby is, like, zonked out in the back after just, like, mauling, like, hundreds of birds. But they end up... There's another great one as well where Susan steals a car to avoid the police. She steals someone's car to avoid getting in trouble with the police, which is just, like, so funny.
She parks in front of a fire hydrant.
Yeah, so her response is to do something slightly more illegal and just rob someone's car.
And stow it away in the garage.
Yes.
That bit then where she cons her way out of jail, so she talks her way out of jail. David thinks she's basically ditched him and left him in jail, but now she goes and steals another car to get back. Oh, it's so funny. And then she manages to get a leopard, or baby the leopard back. That scene, by the way, where she's dragging a leopard back into the police cell.
Oh, the precinct is so funny. Where she has the evil leopard instead,
and she's literally dragging this leopard along. Fair play to Katherine Hepburn. She's got balls.
Yeah. There's basically she then kind of like cons Huxley into staying at the auntie's house through various nefarious means. Like, there's no point in even getting into like how she keeps him there because it just gets more and more convoluted. But there's a really funny scene where he is he's in like a tiny dressing gown because she's thrown away all his clothes to keep him there, and he's running around in the dressing gown, and someone was like, "Oh my god." They all think he's a psychopath, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm just not myself today," and then he runs off. It's so good. Then there's this whole plot to keep him there. Basically, they just keep coming up with more and more convoluted reasons to keep him in this place, and it's really entertaining because there's a bit where he basically has to keep following the dog because the dog has buried the intercostal clavicle somewhere out in the back when he wasn't paying attention. And he just follows the dog everywhere it goes to see if he's going to dig it back up again. But it's during a dinner, so like people will ask him a question, the dog will go out the back and he'll just get up mid-question and walk out, and everyone just thinks he's the rudest guy in the room. He plays it so well. And yeah, evil leopards. Basically, there's a circus, meanwhile, as Baby gets out, and the circus are bringing a leopard that has like mauled people somewhere else. They're taking it away from the circus, and Huxley and Vance think that this is people who have grabbed Baby and put it in the back of a truck, so they jailbreak the evil leopard out of the back of the truck. And then there's two leopards on the loose, and then there's a whole part of this movie where some characters think they're encountering baby, and it's the terrifying leopard. And then there's other people who are expecting to see this like monster, and it's just baby who's just straight chilling with a dog. Yeah, there's so much chemistry between Cary Grant and Katherine Hepburn that they are making all of this work. By the way, like this is really, really entertaining the whole way through.
Yeah, it's literally because of their chemistry, like just the fact that they're clearly having a great time, so the audience is like given permission to have a great time because you can just tell that they're literally not acting in the sense that they're not acting about the fact that they are having such a great time with each other. Obviously, they break there's a second evil leopard. They that scene where Cary Grant hides in the cell, and then they manage to like get the evil leopard locked away in the cell. It's just so funny. There's no point in even talking about how it actually happens. You just have to watch it. It's just so
because the setup is like so long and so convoluted. It would take us even longer to like justify and explain it, but it works.
It literally works, and it justifies, like, the payoff justifies the kind of elongated setup. But then you fast forward to the end where she goes to visit him in the lab, whatever you want to call it, and then that bit where she's hanging off the dinosaur.
She's on the ladder and it's just swaying side to side.
Yeah. And then the whole dinosaur comes crashing down, but he manages to save her. It's look, I know we've jumped all over the kind of the place when it comes to this movie. That's because the movie itself kind of does that. Like it literally does just jump into like.
It's not like a linear narrative at all.
No, like it is, but it also isn't.
Things
it's
are
just
constantly happening.
Yeah, it's just constant like. Shenanigans. That's exactly the word. Yeah. But so funny. What did you give that, Harry?
Yeah, I loved it. The build up to like Huxley realizing that he's actually in love with Vance is amazing. Because she says it like early on in the film when he's in the dressing gown running around, she runs after him and she's like, "Don't let him get any clothes. He'll run away and he's the only man I've ever loved," which is like such a great throwaway line.
Yeah.
Whereas like the build up then for the rest of the film is like a will he, won't he? And as you said, she accidentally takes down his entire gigantic dinosaur, but he saves her. And they have a hug and he's in love with her, and that's how it ends, which is great. I gave it 4 stars. I gave it 4.5 stars the first time I saw it. Sometimes I think comedies, I don't know, they do sometimes depend on your mood.
Yeah.
I could easily go back and watch this and it'll go back up again. I don't think it'll ever go lower than a 4, trust me. I love this film. It's fantastic. I think their chemistry is off the charts. I think it's really well written. Or they've just like improv'd this to death and their improv is just incredible. It is one of the wackiest films we'll ever cover on the podcast. Shout out to Baby the Leopard. Shout out to George the Dog. Shout out to the Irish drunkard who puts the wheels in motion for the third act of this film. Yeah, Howard Hawks, unbelievable director. We've said that a gazillion times on the podcast, but worth noting again in case it's your first time seeing us cover Howard Hawks. I have already recommended this. I'd recommend it again. It is one of my favorite comedies of the 30s, which we're really digging into the 30s this year, I feel like, which is good because we obviously done loads of 40s films, and then last year we kind of leaned more 50s and 60s as well as 40s, whereas this year we're probably going to be leaning more like 50s and 30s, which, you know, will leave us at the end of this year with a fairly even
spread
sort of selection of films. Yeah, a fairly even spread. But yeah, the 30s is like a really exciting genre of cinema because you've got your preco stuff where they're blowing up children on buses and having main characters be tied up in their mother's house and fall in the door dead, like the no rules. And then you've got the second half of the 30s, which is full of genius comedies like this, which are just full of innuendo and clever writing and they're basically having to navigate this censorship, and the films that do successfully navigate it tend to come across far more intelligent and well thought out than some of the comedies that
Yeah.
you see these days. That's not like a slight on like modern comedy. Absolutely not. Like I'm not gonna come and pretend that like, oh, comedy's dead now. Like, no. But what I am saying is that a lot of the great comedies of the late 30s, early 40s are so well written because they had to be, because they had to write around the censorship.
Think outside the box. Yeah.
Yeah, they had to think outside the box. And boy, did they think outside the box when they made Bringing Up Baby, because we've got, is it a brontosaurus? I think it might be a brontosaurus. Anyway, they have a giant dinosaur. You have a leopard who has play scenes with a dog, whilst there's a murderous leopard on the loose, whilst there's a drunk Irish guy running around, whilst there's a guy who makes leopard noises with his hands, whilst there's the people who work at the circus, whilst there's Cary Grant, whilst there's Katherine Hepburn, whilst there's Susan Vance's auntie, who is a character in her own right, all running around in circles like lunatics. And they managed to figure out a way of writing all that into a film that is like coherent and makes sense and is really enjoyable. And that is some achievement. Absolutely love this film. What about you, Shane?
Yeah, it's interesting you said you came down about half star. I actually went up half star, so I gave it 3.5 on my first watch. Just check my letterbox there. So yeah, I've gone up to a 4 this time, so I'm kind of there with you at 4 stars. Just such a fun, entertaining romp of a movie. Like we said, it's still funny. It's a tiny bit maybe baggy or overwrought in the middle, but then it really does find its way back to being really, really, really funny again. And yeah, when I kind of repeat myself for the 50th time, but the chemistry between Cary Grant and Katherine Hepburn, not for the first time we'll see this month, but it really is great. They just play off each other so well. They're having the time of their lives, and that gives the audience permission to have a great time. So yeah, just a really, really classic screwball comedy that I think if you're in any way a fan of comedy movies, yeah, go out of your way to watch this, because it's just an absolute laugh riot. And yeah, that's Bringing Up Baby. We're going to get into what we watched lately just now in a second, but before we do that, just want to say if you can, leave a like and comment and subscribe and stuff on the video. It does help the channel out quite a lot. But yeah, Harry, what have you watched lately?
Yeah, I've been in a bit of a documentary mood, to be honest. But that being said, the first thing I watched after our last episode was a film that has sat on my watch list since it came out, and I never got a chance to watch it. And that was The Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Nice, I've heard of that, yeah.
Such a unique movie. It is really great. Jonathan Major's performance is unbelievable. Jimmy Fails is so good in this film. It's so unique. You can tell that Jimmy Fails and Joe Talbot are like proper San Francisco natives, and they just know that city like the back of their hand. It feels, I know this and Blind Spotting came out at a similar time, and it just feels they're holding a mirror up whilst writing a love letter to San Francisco, like both at the same time. It's like there's the good and the bad, but it's San Francisco and it's where we're from and we love it. It's so unique. I know I've already said that, but like there's a chance you will watch this and it's not for you. There's a chance you will watch this and it'll blow your mind. I loved it. I couldn't get over it. Just so special. A really special film from a real special time, I felt like, in San Francisco when it came to like the independent cinema they were putting out. I then watched 28 years later, The Bone Temple. Possibly the best 28 years later film. Or
Nice.
28 days or whatever the 28 franchise.
Series. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Maybe the best one. Absolutely loved it. Not to get like too spoilery, but I was the only person in the screen seeing this, and then a woman brought a child who I would say was maybe 7 or 8 years old in for a scene where I'll just say people lose their t-shirts and then they walked back out again. And I was like, first of all, why are you bringing this kid in here? Second of all, why are you bringing this kid in here like an hour into the movie? And third of all, get out. And they did. They got straight out as soon as people lost their t-shirts, shall we say. The thing that kind of kickstarted my documentary watching was in college in my master's. Nanak of the North came up, and everyone kind of, not everyone, but a lot of people kind of turned to me expecting me to have seen Nanak of the North because I'm the classic film guy, and I hadn't, and I was so embarrassed. I was absolutely mortified that I had not seen the first ever feature film documentary, so I went and watched it. And for all the lies that Robert Flaherty told, it's still a very impressive achievement in film. I feel like most of these achievements in cinema come with their own caveats. Nanak of the North obviously comes with massive caveats. Most of it is staged. Nanak himself did not hunt with spears. He hunted with a rifle. He regularly lived in a house rather than an igloo. But still, like, some of the things that are shot are genuinely like from stories that you'd hear as a child, and you wouldn't know if they're real or not. You know, like when you hear of like Eskimos or like even things like quicksand when you're a kid, and you're like, what even is that? Like, you can't really fathom it, and your teacher doesn't really have an example for you. It's just like it's a thing that exists. Like, this is like an actual documentary from when that was a thing. Like, Eskimos were a thing, and it is unbelievable that you can actually like go back in time basically whilst watching this. It is some achievement, but obviously you gotta caveat it with that a fair few liberties were taken with the truth in the making of Nanak of the North. I then watched Primate, which I was going into with high expectations. I'm a big horror fan. I'm a big slasher fan. I've obviously seen all the trailers for this. It's the scariest movie of the year. It's the goriest movie of the year. And it's neither of those things. It's unintentionally gas, to be honest. It's really funny sometimes when it's not trying to be. Like, when this killer monkey is, like, slowing down and, like, eyeing people up in this big-ass mansion, you can just tell it's a person in the suit on occasion, and it got a giggle out of me. Shout out to the effects team though, because like the gore in it is very well done. It's kind of sparse, but like it's very well done. The opening scene really does let you know how far they're gonna go when they do get gory, but there's not an awful lot of gore in it. And yeah, I thought it was a very nice looking film. It was very well shot. Cinematography's great, but I was kind of hoping this would be like a new cult horror favorite of mine, and instead I was left saying that yeah, it was grand. It was good, actually. It was a good film, but like I'm not in a rush to come back and watch it. I then watched a documentary which I think is safe to say inspired me, and that's Free Solo. Somehow I had never seen Free Solo.
Good movie.
Such a good documentary. For all of his pitfalls as a boyfriend, Alex Honnold is a very inspiring man when it comes to like setting your mind to a goal and just achieving it. Like, it doesn't matter how long it takes, doesn't matter how many goes it takes, you just achieve it. So I kind of sat there and I was like, well, like I climbed Kilimanjaro last year, I did a half marathon the year before, and now I've nothing like that this year, so I've booked myself for a marathon. Nice. I've signed up for the Warsaw Marathon in Poland in September, so I better get training, cause I just watched this and I was like, God damn it, there's no way I'm gonna spend this whole year not having some sort of stupid goal to try and achieve. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about Free Solo. It just inspired me a lot. And I still haven't actually watched, I probably won't even get around to watching the live stream where he climbed Taipei 101, but like, yeah, what a mad bastard. I then went back, and because I signed up for the Warsaw Marathon, I thought, hey, why don't I go and watch a film about Warsaw that I've been meaning to watch for ages? So I went back and watched Andrzej Wajda, who we have covered on the podcast, Ashes and Diamonds. I went back and watched Canal, which is one of those 3 films with Ashes and Diamonds and A Generation in his anti-war trilogy, which I have on box set. Oh, you can actually see it. It's that one there, the red and white one. And yeah, I was really into it. I was kind of tired when I was watching it, but I probably do owe it a rewatch. I definitely did enjoy it though. It is, yeah, it's bleak as hell. Basically, these soldiers get trapped during the Germans seizing Warsaw, and they are fighting and fighting, and all of their brothers are dying around them, and then eventually they have to just accept their fate and hide in the sewers and give up the land that their brothers have just died for. And then they end up getting split up, and only one person knows the way out of the sewers, which is a woman who only has one person with her who has been shot. So everyone else is basically frantically trying to get out of these sewers because the Germans are gassing it, while she is trying to get this guy who's been shot to safety. And it is honestly like a bit of it's almost like a horror, like a war horror film, and it's got some very memorable sequences. The grenade sequence with the barbed wire was very memorable, as was the ending. Yeah, Canal is another fantastic Andrzej Wajda film. I would definitely say I preferred Ashes and Diamonds, but it's still a very, very good film. I then went to a little known fella by the name of Werner Herzog, and I watched 2 of his documentaries. I fucking love Werner Herzog. I watched Lessons of Darkness, which is, I'll tell you now, I watched Lessons of Darkness, and then I watched The Fire Within, a Requiem for Katya and Maurice Kraft. Both documentaries, I feel like they were from different planets. What I love about Werner Herzog's documentaries, I still haven't seen Grizzly Man somehow.
Grizzly Man,
But
so good.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it somehow. But what I love about these 2 documentaries that I have seen of his is particularly with, in this case, Lessons of Darkness, is there's very little explanation. It's very much show, don't tell. He just shows you these honestly otherworldly, honestly like dreamscapes at points. Lessons of Darkness is about the end of the Gulf War, where Kuwait was basically left on fire, and these firefighters are trying to put out their country, which is just on fire. And some of the shots, some of the scenes that Herzog shoots are just genuinely like they're from a different planet. And then I watched Fire Within, which is obviously about the Crafts, the couple who were obsessed with volcanoes until they weren't. And I know that is it Fire of Love, which is also about the Crafts, came out the same year as it, and like was nominated for Oscars and stuff. I still haven't seen that. I wanted to watch the Herzog one first, because I'm expecting, and I could be wrong here, but I'm expecting Fire of Love to be like, this is Maurice Kraft, this was him as a kid, this was him in college, this is him as an adult, they met, this is him on volcanoes. This is Kadia Kraft, same, and then, like, you know, instance. Whereas Herzog is like, no, I'm just going to show you all the footage that they got in their archive, show you their incredible work, narrate it, and then put into context. It is a real Icarus kind of story, where Herzog makes a point of showing how many near misses they had. Like, you could frame it as like, oh, it's so tragic that they were obviously caught in the volcano that kind of made them famous. Or maybe they were famous before, like maybe in the volcanology community they were famous, but like I wouldn't have heard of them probably had it not been for the incident in Japan. But Herzog is very quick to establish, like, no, they were actually very lucky. Here is like an hour of footage of them escaping death over and over and over and over and over again. One of them is insane, where they are on an island and it starts to get smoky, and they decide, you know what, we've got enough footage for today. And Katya gets in a lifeboat and goes back to the ship whilst Maurice is filming it. And the next footage is when Maurice gets to the ship and he turns around and the entire island has exploded. The volcano has actually blown up the entire island and everything on it was like literally cooked and decimated. And he was like literally only on it minutes before. And he's so nonchalant about it. He's like, oh, there goes the island. And it's like, what? So, yeah. Herzog does a great job of both showing that their passion was incredibly dangerous, but also that they were incredibly talented at what they did. And it's probably my favorite Herzog film I've ever seen, which is gas, because I'm going like a weird route on Herzog. I've seen a lot of his more random ones, and I still haven't seen Nosferatu or Grizzly Man. So, yeah. That's everything I've watched recently. What about you, Shane?
Yeah, so starting off, Breathless, obviously Jean-Luc Godard. I enjoyed it. I know you really love this movie. I think you're more into the French New Wave in general than I am, for sure.
I love the French. I actually have a Breathless poster right there.
Nice. Yeah, I enjoyed it, but yeah, not as much as you, but yeah, I would recommend it. It's a good movie. Role Models, I rewatched that. It's funny. Yeah, not much to say there. Not more to say there, really. Rental Family is from Cary, starring Brendan Fraser as this American actor, kind of just like does like local commercials and stuff, who's living in Japan. And then he gets this job with this agency that basically hire actors out to play people, yeah, in real life, essentially. I don't know really how else to say it. So essentially, like, he has to pretend to be this young girl's father. So the mother obviously hires him to pretend to be her real father, to try and get the girl into school. There's a couple of others. He talks to this filmmaker, this like elderly filmmaker as well. So yeah, like he starts kind of getting drawn more towards essentially playing real life characters in real life. Characters in real life, I should say. Like, in obviously we're real people, and yeah, it's a kind of a life affirming movie. It's one of those kind of real heartwarming, feel good stories. Yeah, would recommend that. Horrible Bosses, again, funny movie. Kind of just been on a little bit of a comedy buzz recently, because, well, I'll get on to why. Is This Thing On is the latest film from Bradley Cooper. Obviously, he's done A Star Is Born, which I really loved. Then he did Maestro, which I didn't really like. So this is obviously third directorial movie. It's also the first movie that he's not a lead in. He's a supporting actor in this. He's pretty funny performance, I have to say. He plays this character called Balls, and he's got like a really grey head of hair, like a beard. He plays this like struggling actor. But this is actually based on the true story of John Bishop's, the comedian's, marriage, where he separated from his wife after about 7 years. Then he kind of randomly got into stand-up comedy, not even looking to, just kind of randomly one night got into stand-up comedy, kind of enjoyed it, so kept going back to like these open mic nights. And then obviously he then became this like nationally famous comedian in the UK, but also kind of rekindled his marriage. It's not a spoiler, it's like literally the guy's life. But yeah, they kind of were inspired by this Will Arnett, who's friends with John Bishop, and then they started writing this movie together.
What a random friendship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's loosely based. He's not playing John Bishop. They transplant the story to LA, I think it is, or certainly the West Coast of America. So it's Will Arnett and Laura Dern. Their marriage falls apart. He goes to live elsewhere. They have 2 young boys, 2 kids, and then yeah, he gets into stand-up comedy. And then obviously can their marriage kind of get back together and stuff. But it's very much like he's not in any way a good comedian. Like he's kind of funny. He's a funny storyteller, but he's also like, this isn't a movie about a guy becoming a stand-up comedian. It's a movie about marriage, and it's
Yeah.
pretty funny, and yeah, but definitely recommend it if you're just looking for kind of a new movie that's still in cinemas and stuff. Would recommend it. Speaking of which, why I've been watching so much comedies, so I watched Twin Peaks, say the movie, the pilot, if you know what I mean, the 90-minute pilot.
Yeah.
And then I've started watching Twin Peaks, which, like, it's not that
I've
Twin
been
Peaks
waiting
isn't.
for this.
Yeah, it's not that Twin Peaks isn't funny. Like, it is funny, but it's also like it's very dark. And do you know what I love about it is it probably is the most tonal whiplash of any show I've ever seen. Right, where
it's so great.
any like one scene will be like this very irreverent, offbeat, kind of quirky, comedic kind of show.
Fellas, don't drink that coffee.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe it, but there was a fish in the percolator. And then it just cuts to like a dead person floating in the river.
The very next scene then it'll be like the most awful kind of terrible, tragic thing you've seen.
I fucking love Twin Peaks.
Such total whiplash from any one scene to the next. First, so I'm halfway through the second season now, so I'm getting through it. Like, so I do know.
Thoughts?
No, I really like it. I really like it. It's
favorite characters.
That's interesting. Andy has to be up there, the cop, who I actually I don't know if it's a spoiler to like say who I thought was the killer or is the killer. I will say, and that's not to say he is or isn't, because I don't want to spoil like a 35-year-old show. I will say I kind of weirdly thought that he was responsible. I don't know why. It's just because there is one scene where there's like a
his
sketch.
arc in the second season is insane.
Oh yeah, man. It's
it just gets weirder and weirder and weirder, and then it gets grounded at the end, which makes it even funnier.
Don't tell me, because I'm still going through.
No, of course not.
I will say
not.
after certain resolutions are like made, it gets even so much weirder. Like there's about 5 storylines where I'm like, what is happening right now? It's like the whole Big Ed's wife going, like 35 or 40-year-old wife going back to high school.
Yeah.
She thinks she's a high school. She thinks she's a high school student. What else? Like there's the whole like who's the father between Andy and the other guy.
Yeah.
So much. But then it's also like you've got this whole weird new storyline for Agent Cooper, for obviously Colin McLachlan's character. No, I really like it, but I will say the second season is a very unruly, like any scene, even more so than the first season, where I think this was also true. Any scene in the second season could be anything. Like it could be the most baffling thing you can see. Go on.
Yeah. No, basically David Lynch kind of like got too busy whilst they were making the second season and left it for a while.
Yeah.
And that's where it just kind of it's not as bad as people make it out to be, but there's a few episodes in the middle of season 2 where it really meanders. And David Lynch basically was like, "Oh, fuck that," and he came back, and then like second half of the second season is like sensational again.
Yeah,
but there is like that middle bit where it really meanders. Like James has that random, and like it isn't really a spoiler, but like, it doesn't really go anywhere. I don't think they knew what to do with his character. Also, what was your reaction to James's face in the pilot in the school when they find out the news? That she's dead.
It didn't really stand out to me.
Did it not strike you?
No, it didn't really stand out to me one way or the other, to be honest. I think he looked amazing. Like surprised, but I don't think he's...
Oh, he looks like he like actually like shat his pants. Like it's he looks like a kid. It's like one of my favorite images in anything is James's facial expression when they find out what happened in the first episode. And like the characters are like crying and sobbing in the classroom, and it cuts to him, and he's like a Zoolander face. It is incredible.
Oh, actually, now you mention it, I do remember that.
It's one of my favorite images in history. Is his like Zoolander, I've just shit myself face.
Yeah. As soon as you mentioned Zoolander,
so
I actually do remember what you're talking about now.
So fucking funny.
The whole plot line. Like there's still really good stuff. Like I'm probably worried about where you are now, where it's like really meandering in the middle of the second season.
Yeah, it does come back, I promise.
They've just finished that James. Well, I think they've just finished that James storyline in the middle. So hopefully it starts to pick up, because at the very end of the last episode, and again, there's this whole thing with Leo Johnson. So yeah, the last episode
Yeah.
I watched is where Leo Johnson meets Wyndham Earl in the cabin.
Right. Okay.
So
Yeah,
hopefully,
that gets weird. That
right?
gets
So
fucking weird.
right, okay. Already, yeah, the whole Wyndham Earl storyline already is getting quite weird. Like it's a weird show, and it's that's one of the reasons why it's so great. But yeah, I mean, some of the
Wait, has
storylines.
David Lynch as a character
Yeah,
shown up
yeah,
yet?
he's showed up as
Okay, he's so great.
He's so funny in the show. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, I'm really enjoying it. But the second season is definitely like very. It's just a box of rivals. It really could be anything. Like
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm enjoying it. I'm getting through it and I'm enjoying it. And then obviously I'll watch Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, and then I'll go and watch Twin Peaks The Return. So we'll get into that.
Firewalk is.
I will say
I still actually haven't finished this. I still haven't finished the third season. I haven't
Oh.
gotten around to it because my Mubi subscription cancelled, and then I just forgot to renew it, and I just haven't gotten around to it. So
Nice. I was going to say, I will say that without spoiling who the killer or killers are, there's a scene when it is revealed of the culprit.
that episode, the mirror scene,
Yeah, the mirror.
that episode is one of the greatest episodes in television history.
Not only that, but the scene where the killer or one of the killers, I'm not going to say which or what or who,
Yeah.
but yeah, one of the actors makes a face that is just absolutely skin crawling.
Spine tingling, like
I wanted
terrifying.
to wash myself in bleach. It was horrible.
Yeah.
But great, obviously,
Yeah.
but horrible. Yeah, Twin Peaks, I'm enjoying it, yeah. Icarus, I rewatched the documentary. Speaking of
class.
documentary filmmaking, I rewatched it obviously with the Winter Olympics having started, which weirdly I haven't seen a single minute of the Winter Olympics, so I don't really know why. But yeah, I'd seen it before a few times actually because I did a college project on this. But yeah, it's a really good movie. I will say Brian Fogel. When I initially saw it the first time, I was like, he just looked into this crazy story. But I guess it is part of documentary filmmaking. You have to be open to where it takes it. Like he starts off obviously making the story about this. Obviously, he's a cyclist or he's a biker and stuff. Or a biker, he's a cyclist and he wants to high performance. He wants to see how far he can push himself and if he takes these performance enhancing drugs, obviously. But then where it actually goes from there into this state sanctioned doping that Russia was involved in. Mad. But yeah, fair play to him because obviously he won the Oscar for this movie for best documentary feature. And it wasn't what he planned on, but fair play to him. He had to be adaptable, and he obviously struck this whole friendship and slightly unethical relationship with this Russian doctor Grigor. But yeah, I mean it's obviously a great movie. And
Hope he's doing okay.
Yeah. Poor Greenberg. He was through it there for a while. Obviously, he didn't do some really good things there, but I mean, some of the stuff that happened to him was pretty shitty.
Can't help but just kind of.
He's kind of a lovable
works out
guy.
for
Yeah, he's kind of a lovable guy, even really. Send Help is the latest Sam Raimi movie, starring Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. Really fun, kind of a survival comedy thriller. There's a plane crash. They're stranded on a desert island, and she just built for it. She's a big fan of Survivor, and she just clicks into gear, and so many great twists and turns that I didn't see coming at least. Yeah, it's a fun time. And then Eternity was a movie that came out last year. It's actually from an Irish director, David Frayne. I'd recommend his movie actually, Dating Amber from a few years ago. It's an Irish kind of, it's a comedy, but it's also about the LGBT. It's about it's a queer comedy. It's about two queer people who want to obviously be more accepted. I think it's set in the 90s, so it's obviously set in a time in Ireland where that was frowned upon, shall we say.
Oh yeah.
But it's really, really great movie that is, and yeah, it's great to see him get a big Hollywood movie. So yeah, Eternity effectively means that when you die, you go to the afterlife. It's kind of has the Good Place vibes. I don't know if you've seen that show.
No.
But yeah, basically, it's you get to choose which eternity you want to go to. So it's do you want to go to Beach World, or do you want to go to Sports World or Suburban World? It's all these different worlds, and some of them are very, very niche, obviously. But basically, we have 7 days to decide. But once you choose, you have to stay there for eternity. You can't leave. But yeah, so an elderly couple die within a few days of each other. But then little do they know that her first wife, her first husband, who died in a war, in the Korean War, has been waiting for her in like limbo for 67 years. So it's like this whole like love triangle thing. It's a pretty fun time. It's very funny. I think the first half is better than the second half, but it's still a fun time. So again, if you're a fan of comedies, I'd recommend that and give that a go. But yeah, that's what I've seen lately, and that was the episode of the podcast for Bringing You Up Baby. And obviously next week we're going to be returning to another Howard Hawks film with His Girl Friday, also starring Cary Grant and starring Rosalind Russell. So yeah, check that one out next week. But for now, thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll catch you on the next one.